Okay, so today is October 24th of 2024, and I'm going to be going over yesterday's price action as well as the outlook for today. So yesterday was pretty interesting. I had wanted to see price draw higher, but uh, obviously in hindsight it makes sense as to why it drew lower. I had been eyeing these lows the past couple of actually the last week or so. Um, and so I'm glad that that actually happened because now I can still maybe look for bullish order flow, but given what happened yesterday, uh, I may want to look for bearish um, order flow here going into the next few days or weeks or whatever. Um, so right after morning, I had expected price to maybe sweep a intraday low, which was right around here somewhere, and then maybe come up here to sweep these highs because these highs to me were relatively clean. Obviously, these lows were too. Um, but again, obviously that didn't happen, and it was clear to me why after. Obviously after price drew because yesterday we did draw SMT here on the daily. First stage, which was this right here, second stage here with these highs here. So, so again, that's why, not necessarily why, but there was a lot of PD arrays up here that price was failing to get above. More specifically, this breaker here on the 1 hour that I had drawn a couple of days ago. Um, Here on NQ, price failed to close above this huge 4 hour gap here. It did start closing above constant encroachment, obviously, but obviously, as you can see here, it just kind of disintegrated afterwards. So, um, so going into the day, like I said again, I had noticed price sweep this high here, price sweep this high here, and I had expected price to sweep these lows here, maybe hold above this gap here. And after I tried getting long on a trade, I realized that obviously I did have my stops, and those stops got triggered. And then once I did that, I came back into the 11 o'clock macro and I realized that price was going to continue to draw lower, and I actually took a pretty nice trade in that aspect. Let's go ahead and extend this a little. I have this on here for future reference. I'll explain here in a bit. But anyways, so again, once I realized that price was going to continue to draw lower and maybe attack these lows, I started to look for somewhere. I started to look for a short somewhere in these areas. Now, in this area here, you can't really see anything on the 1 hour. You can't see anything here in the 1 hour. You zoom into the 15-minute, you don't see anything either. But what you do see, which is right here, but what you do see is this huge breaker here. Actually, it's more noticeable on the 1 hour. No, actually, 30-minute. But I don't use the 30-minute much. But in this case, I will. So you see this huge breaker here, this huge body. So what I wanted to see is I wanted to see price fail to close above it, or even fails to close above the median threshold of the order block. And as you can see here, you have very long wicks. On the 15-minute, you don't really notice it much. But again, in this situation, you use these two wicks here. I mean, these two candles here because this candle doesn't really tell me anything. Again, failed to get above this body here of this breaker multiple times. So that to me again was a great place to start looking for an entry. Actually, I don't need this one. This one was already down here, so I didn't really look at that as a viable area to start. I mean, I didn't look at this pair as a viable pair to want to trade. But what I did notice is they both were in sync as far as price action is concerned. Right here, as you can see here, here is why I actually got long. I got long right here, and try to see if maybe a long, or actually not there, right here is where I got long, and I wanted to see if maybe we drew higher, closed above this, and then we drew maybe a breaker similar to the play of yesterday, where we drew higher, closed above, and we came back later on to attack these highs. Um, but that didn't happen. Uh, I think I got stopped right here because I didn't want to see this low get. Yeah, I got stopped right here because I didn't want to see this low get swept anymore, and I got stopped. Um, and so I started looking for. Actually, I think I took another long somewhere here. It was just ill advised. Both pretty small losses. I'm not really wasn't worried about that. Very small losses, which I which I'm thankful for because my stops were there, my hard stops. You know, the hard stops are there for a reason, and that's basically to tell me whether I'm right or wrong. If I'm wrong, there's really nothing I can do. I mean, I get canceled as hard stops, but the fact that the hard stops were there, and I didn't even budge to like remove them, and I just let them execute. You know, it's a pretty good sign that I'm starting to, not necessarily starting to, but that I'm actually starting to understand that a loss is a loss. Give me 1 second. All right, so not necessarily starting to understand, but I already know that a loss is a loss, and they'll be there. So, anyways, so this happened after the 10 o'clock macro. You know, price drew lower, and thankfully I had already disconnected from data, and then I came back for the 11 o'clock macro. And the 11 o'clock macro, I noticed this, and I started to realize that maybe we were having a change in the state of delivery here on the 5 minute, because as you can see here, this candle closed above it, but not by much. So what I wanted to see is I wanted to see how this candle closed. If this candle closed up here somewhere there, maybe we were going to head to these highs, but obviously that did not happen. Price displaced lower in the other one, which was the last candle before the 10 o'clock 11 o'clock macro started. And as you can see here, you don't really see much. Here neither. Actually, here neither. You don't see much. But if you zoom into the 1 minute, where is it? Right here. You see a lot more. So what do I notice here? I see a double purge. First, a purge of the lows, of these lows here, a purge of previous day's low here on ES, um, and then you know price rallies to purge these highs here, relative equal highs. And I had set my eyes on here, and I had actually left a line of liquidity to see if maybe it drew into those. Once I noticed these wicks start to form here, I started to map out my trade. And what I did notice was I wanted to see price break above this, break below this breaker here. Same thing here. I wanted to see price break below this breaker here. ES broke, swept, kept drawing lower and closed below this breaker here. Same thing on NQ. Price broke below this breaker here, and consequently this breaker as well. So then uh, my focus came onto this area here. As soon as price traded into this area here, I got short. Not only that though, but I had also noticed this tiny little inverse here. So I got short 3 contracts here. Right, I got short 3 contracts here with a stop above the high of this wick here, right? With a stop above the high of this breaker here. So price drew lower, and you can't really see it here, but if you zoom into the lower time frames, you'll see that price swept sell side liquidity. Actually, never mind. You get it. The white is supposed to be right here. Red is supposed to be down here. So up sell side liquidity first, buy side liquidity into this breaker once again. and then immediately started drawing lower. Covered into this low here, and then finally the previous day low down here. So pretty good day off of yesterday's price action. Now, granted, probably should have held on to it, but but I was just looking to take my profit and run after I had this pretty good win here. So yeah, once again, definitely my type of model. Swap sell side here, swap buy side here, break below these two breakers here, entry here, cover down here, here, and right here. Where is it? Okay. All right. So that was the only trade for the day. I did not get into any other ones. Here I noticed a change in the state of delivery on the 5 minute, but I wasn't really looking to take a long, especially after a move like this. What I did want to see is if I was going to short again, what I did want to see is maybe price trade into buy side liquidity, which was right here. Not there, right here. So I wanted to see price maybe trade back into buy side liquidity, and then maybe we get a rejection off that low. But obviously, we didn't get that into going into the close. So we did, like I said again, we did get a tiny change of state of delivery on the 5 minute, but again, I wasn't looking to change. I wasn't looking to get long. I almost did though, because we did trade into this daily order block as well as the median threshold of the order block here, and we did trade into this daily imbalance here as well as this order block here, which just happened to be 50% of this range here. Yep, right here. So I am watching this order block to see how price traded overnight. What I do want to see overnight is pretty much the same thing. I want to see consolidation over on Asia, manipulation there in London, and then maybe we get some sort of directional move during the New York Open. Um, because again, what I see on the higher time frame on NQ, more specifically on NQ than ES, is on NQ we have 3 drives. We have 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. We also have it on the monthly, actually. If you zoom out to the monthly, you'll see 3 drives up here. That indicate, yeah, you see 3 drives here, and then on the daily you see 3 drives. On that 4 hour, you see three drives as well. So that's a 3 drive pattern. We have change in the state of delivery on the daily here, and but on ES, I don't see that just yet. I don't see change in the state of delivery whatsoever. Maybe these candles here, but more so on the 4 hour than the daily, which is let's see here. Yep, which is right here. This whole candle here, which is the 4 hour change in the state of delivery. But that doesn't really tell me anything just yet. So with that in mind, I still believe that maybe we do have some more upside, especially after on the daily here we traded into 50% of the range. But again, that all has to do with how price traded overnight. I do want to see how price traded overnight, and then see maybe if we took out these highs or these lows here, and the same thing on ES, maybe these highs and these lows here. What I do want to see is, I want to see some sort of consolidation, and then a double purge, and then that double purge will tell me what price may be doing today, if it's going to continue to draw lower or continue to draw higher. The last few weeks I had been eyeing all of these lows, right? So yesterday with this one move, we took out 5 previous day lows. Same thing here, we actually took out 6 previous day lows. So that's enough liquidity to maybe get a rebalance into some sort of imbalance, and we do have a 4 hour imbalances up here. So if anything, I do expect I do expect price to draw back to an imbalance, and then maybe if it wants to continue drawing lower, then we get a draw lower. Uh, but again, let's go ahead and connect the data and see where we are right now. Okay. All right, so this move reminds me of a couple of weeks ago, which was right here. Reminds me of this one right here. So if we are to draw higher, then I do want that generated liquidity to get swept into these lows and then draw higher after that. Because at this point right now, I'm not really seeing a reason to get long up here. There's no reason to get long up here. We do have maybe a 15-minute double purge here. Actually, no, not really. Here, neither. On the 1 hour, at least, I don't see anything on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at the 4 hour again. We are above 50% of this range here. I did mark out this 4 hour here, even if it trades into this area here. I don't want to see. I'm not interested in getting short just yet because I don't see anything on the 1 hour either. We are above 50% here. We're closing above it, so that doesn't really tell me anything just yet on the 4 hour. No PD arrays have been violated just yet. On the 60-minute, we did violate this gap here. We traded above the 3 bars that created this gap. So if anything, maybe we'll hold at this inverse here. And that's where, again, that's where I would like to maybe try for a long. So right now, again, I'm not looking to get long. And if I do decide to get a short, it'll be on the 1 minute. Same thing here. We are above this inverse. So I will be watching these two inverses here. We do have SMT here in Asia, but obviously it already completed the objective once it swept these highs here. 4 hour, we have generated liquidity. So all throughout Asia and London, we have been engineering sell side liquidity. Same thing here, all throughout Asia and London, we've been engineering sell side liquidity. So I will expect that sell side liquidity to get swept. This right here, this line right here would be the previous day low. I wanted to see if maybe we had some resistance here to maybe get an immediate rebalance on the daily, but as you can see, we're still drawing higher. So I don't really need this. Actually, I'll just keep it because we are holding above it. So I still have my eyes here on this breaker, on this 30-minute breaker, the one I used to short yesterday. Actually, I don't need it that far. if you look at the 15 minute, the 15 minutes the same. It's actually two candles, two down close candles. Let's see here. So we swept buy side. Actually, I like to look at the 15 minute. I don't like looking at the 30 minute, but only when I need to. Okay, so see, this is why this trade worked out, because we swept buy side here. This was the buy side liquidity I was eyeing. This right here to me is balanced price range. This is where I shorted up. I think it was up here somewhere. We just hit 4-hour change in state of delivery with this 4-hour order block up here. This is the daily change in state of delivery on the daily. So it seems like we are having trouble drawing above. But what I do want to see again is I want to see maybe one more sweep of the low, sweep of the high, and then we get to draw lower. Because right now I'm not really, I don't really see anything as far as any opportunity. This area, if price is going to draw back lower into these lows here, which would be into 50% of this range. Again, this is where I want to get long. This area down here. And what I want to see is I want to see one of the pairs fail to draw into 50% of the range. When that happens, when one of the pairs fails to draw into 50% of the range and the other one does, that's when I feel more comfortable getting long. But if both of the pairs draw into 50% of the range, then I stay away. What's YM doing? Again, so we did sweep buy side here. We swept buy side. We haven't swept these lows. Again, these lows here, I mean these highs here, this area here, I want to see as generated liquidity. I mean balanced price range. We do have these relative equal highs here that price may want to draw into. So again, one of the pairs may want to draw into these areas here. And if it does and the other one doesn't, then that might be SMT as well. But after yesterday, I mean, we do have the monthly, weekly, and the daily giving me some sort of indication that we might head to lower prices. But I'm going to stick to my my bullish order flow. We are still in bullish order flow, so I'm not going to trade against that just yet. Not until we start closing below below daily bearish PD rays on ES, because ES is the only one that's not working for me just yet. On YM we are still below. Actually, we drew below the previous that weekly imbalance. Let's see here, and we consolidated all throughout Asia and London. Yep, we did. So maybe if YM sweeps previous day low and then draws higher, because we swept buy side on YM. Now I'd like to see maybe sell side get swept, and then we get the reversal higher. So this draw lower, I don't trust this draw lower. Yeah, I don't trust this draw lower. If it does draw lower and draws into this area here, then I'll start looking for a reversal some sort of way. There's no discernible SMT for me, so no trade on the higher time frame. Actually, I forgot to map out this. No, it's actually this one. All right, so this, I forgot to map this out. Yeah, I don't like any of this just yet. It's not as clear for me on the 30 or the 15 minute. Well, on the 15 minute, it's not clear. On the 30, it's a little more clear. So same play as yesterday. If I do end up maybe taking a quick short, will be to see price displace through this breaker here. And yeah, ES is not as clear as well, so I'm not gonna chance it. When both pairs are not as clear, uh, yeah, when both pairs are not as clear to me, I don't like taking my chances. Uh, there is news at 10 o'clock, so I'm not looking to trade the 9:30 open. So I'll keep an eye on this one to see how price opens and closes here. Because what I'm thinking is maybe the same play as I traded a couple of days ago, especially during the 10 o'clock macro uh, when there's news. And it looked like, where is it? Oh, right here. So during the 10, well, actually, this one's more so during the 9:30 open. This is the one I traded the couple of days ago. It was on Tuesday. This one I traded long. I actually got long right here uh, and held on to these highs here. Um, and what I want to see during the 10 o'clock macro is I want to see a quick sweep of both sides, and then we get the directional move. So we are getting that we are getting that down move. So if anything, I will maybe get second stage of distribution into these lows down here if we displace through this breaker down here. Because I don't see a retracement happening at this point. Yeah, I don't see a retracement happening onto this point. If this stays open, then that's a breakaway gap. So I would like to see this gap remain open, because if that gap remains open, then I might get a chance here on that second stage of distribution. So I'll be eyeing this one now. Because again, the um, the thought process again is that all throughout Asia and London, all this sell side was engineered by buyers. So if one of them should reach 50% of this range, and that's my current objective right now. And so right now we are drawing from imbalance to imbalance. We have this right here, which is a new week opening gap, a new day opening gap. all new week opening gaps, new day opening gaps tend to act as magnets for price. It's right above 50% of the range. We have this gap here, which is right at 50% of the range. And here, this one is this one here. What's YM doing? Well, YM is still consolidating. So again, I do want to see price close below this area here, the body. Again, I want to see this candle, this gap remain open. There is SMT here, but I don't like, I'm not looking to get long here because 50% of the range higher is down here, where there's plenty of confluence. We have daily order block, 1 hour imbalance. Right above we have the new day opening gap, and we have this inverse. So all areas of confluence here. But I'm not switching over to the 1 minute just yet. Let's take a look at the 5 minute because I think there was a setup on the 5 minute for the 9:30 open. Yep, right here. Yeah, right here. This was during the 9 o'clock macro. So same thing that happened up here where price broke below this breaker here. I'm looking for down here. As you can see here, price did retrace, failed to get above this breaker here. I mean this order block here. This one, price failed to even get into consequent encroachment. So whenever I'm watching for a possible short like this, I always like to see one of them fail to even reach above maybe even 25% of this total range here, whereas the other one may draw above the breaker and maybe trade into an inverse. And when that happens, I feel more comfortable getting short on the one that looks weaker. So same signature and price that happened up here, I'm looking for down here to attack these lows down here. And thus far, it looks like ES is the weaker of the two. ES is down here now. We are still holding above this SMT here. Actually, let's get rid of it. And if I were to have traded Asia, then I would have turtle souped this right here. 5 minute sweep of the high, 5 minute sweep of the low, fails to get below this low here. you turtle soup this entry here with a stop here, target these high here. Same thing here, high swept, buy side swept, sell side swept, SMT with ES, draw higher. This one traded back into this on a retracement, traded back into this breaker here, drew higher. So the same thing that happened here, I'm looking for down here now. So let's go back up to the 15-minute. So if anything, I think maybe NQ fails to get to 50% of the range because ES is a little more, it's a little further down the road. If it comes up here into this, well, what I call a bag just now, then I'll expect this high to get swept because I'm not looking to trade anywhere up here. We still have this one to keep in mind here. We have about 5 minutes left until the this 15-minute closes. All right. Let's look at the 1 hour on the other screen. Yeah, nothing. All right, we have 3.5 minutes left. Again, I want to see price close below this. Not just the wick, but the body close below here. And then obviously my stop would be 3.5 points. Depending on whether I take minis or micros. If I decide to take, it would be a 7.75 stop. If I decide to take micros. But if I decide to take minis, it'll be a 3.50 stop. Because again, I do want to see very, it all depends on how this candle closes. And ultimately 45 points if it decides to come down to this area here. Okay, we're drawing lower. on. Just close below. That's all I'm looking for. If this one doesn't close below, then it might be the next one, the next candle. There we go. Now I just need it to close below. All right. All right, so we didn't close, but we did, sweep this low here. What's this low? 46.25, 46. Still not within the macro, so I'm not pulling the trigger. We have a tiny void here. Let's take a look at what the 1 minute is doing. Actually, let's go to the 5 minute. All right, so on the 5 minute, I do like this right here. Okay, so as long as we don't sweep this low, and during the 10 o'clock macro, we draw back into this area here, as long as we don't sweep this low, because this would be my target. This would be my target for a short if I'm going to get a short. So I don't want these lows to get swept just yet. But if we sweep these lows, then the trade idea is out. I want to see price fail to get above this order block here. Same thing on NQ. But I think NQ might offer me a more wider profit margin. About 58 points, which is my usual. Usually like going for 50, 75, and ultimately 100 if I get it. So yeah, as long as these lows aren't as long as Asia lows aren't swept, then we're still good. So this bag remains opened. I'm gonna leave it there. Let's go into the 5 minute. The 1 minute. Because on the 1 minute, what I like is I like that. On the 1 minute, I like that we just swept south side. Again, my model. Well, the model that I like trading. Here we just swept south side as well. So now I'm looking for buy side to get swept. Either this high or this high here, whichever one of the two happens. Then I want to see some sort of displacement lower. for me to get in on. Again, same play as this one here. Actually, this one from yesterday, where sell side was swept, buy side was swept. Jump in here. I just don't want these lows to get swept just yet. If they do, then trade ideas out. Yeah, this low here. So here's hoping. We are leaving a small imbalance here. The 15-minute, which is just happens to be above sell side, above buy side, I mean. This is also right above buy side on the 15-minute. It touched new day opening gap, but I expect this to be sell side. So I just hope it doesn't draw into it. Macro just started. This is an order block here in case price wants to reverse. But again, if price I'm not saying that price is going to reverse, but what I am seeing is I want to see price sweep buy side. What I'm not looking for though is displacement. It's kind of failing to get above this 5-minute order block here. And there's no way I'm trading the 15-second. Once price sweeps these highs here, what I would like to see is I would like to see one of the pairs fail to break above the high. That'll just give me even better a better outcome, more probable cause to get into a trade. Get my orders ready in case. We have 7 minutes until the macro. Until the 10 o'clock news. If I were long, this would be my first objective, second objective. We're still failing to get above that. 5 minutes until that news comes out. All right. Now I want to see ES struggle to get above that. And Q, it'd be better if it doesn't. Okay, so got a new order block for ES. Okay, so we are drawing lower, but I'm just a little skeptical to get in now if I get some sort of entry, at least not until 10 o'clock. What does the 15-minute look like? 15-minute looks good. Okay, so on the 15-minute, what I would like is I would like to see it close below here. Okay, I'm seeing something here. I want to see price fail. I mean, close below here. Yes, not so much. I like NQ better. I'm watching NQ. Maybe it draws higher one more time. We do have change in state of delivery, but to me, we have displacement lower. So I'm not looking to trade long, at least not until we get to 50% of the range. YM hasn't even swept previous day low yet. But it did sweep Asia. Actually, Asia and London has already been swept by YM, but I'm not looking to get in there. 34-point stop. $16-point stop if I get in above this high, because we just swept sell side. With this low, so I would like buy side to get swept. But again, I'm looking to see this body close below this candle here. I'm watching this wick here. I want to see how price behaves here. We have 30 seconds. I'm going to put a short order here at night at 43.25 with a hard stop above 60. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. 43.50. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. All right. Hard stop above 60. All right, so I'm in. And again, I got a hard stop above 60. Now I want to see price close below here. And if it closes below here, I'm going to get in with 2 more contracts. And the entry would be 24.25. So a 16-point stop is permissible for me. That's just trading turtle soup though. For me to actually get in would be down here. Okay, so on ES we have a 3-drive pattern. I want to see it fail to close above here. I don't want to see price close up here. Oof, and I just got stopped. Okay, so 1 contract. It's fine. I'm still bearish, but now what I want to see is I want to see a displacement lower now. If we displace higher, then that's fine too. But my bias is telling me to get short. Could be this one too. This would be the last line of defense, and then if it draws higher, then that's it. It's going to draw towards the highs, and that'll be it. I'm going to give it one more shot. All right, so I'm short again, and my stop is up here, and that'll be it. What's my stop? 78.20, 78.50. All right, so I got my stop up here. Quick entry. and I'm trading micros. Traded into this gap here. I don't want to see price come back up here because the way it looks on the 15-minute right now, this could be an institutional order flow entry drill. So price should not come back up to here. If it is, there we go. All right, I'm seeing it. All right. If it closes below this candle here, I'm getting back in here. This right here is an inverse. If it closes below here, so now I want to see price fail to get above here. If price closes below this gap here, it did close below here. Now I want price to just continue drawing lower. All right, so I got my hard stop up here. I'm gonna add another one. Hard stop above 78 point. Actually, my stop is at 79. So these will be my only two trades. Yep. All right. I got in on that inverse. I'll add one more if we close below this breaker here. There is SMT at the highs between, I just noticed that, between YM and ES and NQ. I feel confident on this trade. This one I felt the same when I took this short here, got stopped here, took a short here, took another one here. So now my objectives is the new day opening gap. But again, I want to see price close below here now. Want to see what happens if it sweeps this high here. like how it traded into consequent encroachment here, left a tiny little breakaway gap here. So as long as that one doesn't fail, then we're golden. Actually, it's not there, it's right here. So like I was saying earlier, when I'm trading breakers, I like to see one fail to get to it, and I like to see the other one get to it. Once it breaks these lows down here, I'm going to move my stop up to the breakaway gap because my average is 57. So right here. I'm watching this wick here. Wicks are gaps. Swept this high here. All right. Yeah, I don't like this setup for a long at all. So that's why I'm not overly concerned. Now again, if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. Because on the 5 minute, I mean, we do have change in the state of delivery here, but we have this right here. So yeah, I'll just leave it. See what it does here one more time. I'm still watching this high. Yes, we have the same breakaway gap here. And this would be the last line of defense. It did close above this inverse here, so the next candle, if we're still bullish, I want to see a sudden, quick rejection of that. If I get that reaction, I'm going to add the last one up here. But my stop still remains up here. All right, so I just added my last one. And two losses in a row. I stopped trading for the day. Again, we closed above here. With this candle, we rejected it. So now I would like the continuation. I don't want to see any higher prices. ES still keeps rejecting. Well, ES is a little weaker than NQ. We rejected consequent encroachment again. What's YM doing? Well, YM is drawing lower too. A very good stop risk reward here. Yep, I'm not liking that. All right, yeah, we're just failing to get above here. Yeah, I don't want to see any more higher prices, but I'm gonna leave my stop at 79. We are holding at this gap here, but I just don't like that. I like how the 15-minute closed on ES. So we'll see. We're still kind of we're consolidating here now. But time is kind of being a factor too. The macro is already over, and the fact that this trade has not worked out just yet, it's kind of giving me something to think about. Do I just hold on to the trade, or do I come back for the 11 o'clock macro? So it all depends on how price closes within the next few minutes. Because I don't like holding on to a trade way past the 10 o'clock macro if it hasn't worked in my favor. So all I want to see is displacement. If I don't see it, then I got to take it out. Okay. So if it closes below here, then I'll be watching this breaker here. No longer this. This right here to me is a mitigation block. Actually, let me put my first sell. Actually, once it gets down here, I'll change that. So similar concept with a mitigation block here. I just need to see it fail. Once it starts closing below, then I'll move my stop up to this high here, because again, we're outside of the macro already, and I just don't like being in a trade after the macro is over. I mean, if the after the macro is over and I've already taken profit, then I'll stay in it. But aside from that, I don't like staying there. We do have a generated liquidity here off of these longs, so I want to see all of this get swept. I just noticed that this gap here did kind of hold price back. All right. Again, it's still my model. You know, you get sell side swept, buy side swept, displacement lower, short above 50% of the range. So now we just wait. Just very impatient, waiting for a trade. And these are my trades, by the way. So about a 20-point stop. Come on. It's starting to get very annoying. Is this a gap? No, it's not. Yeah. I'm just not seeing displacement, but I'm going to still hold it. This down move, there's no displacement. The only thing I see are just immediate rebalances and then draw lower. So if it breaks these lows here, I want to see that displacement. So let me get my orders ready. 94.25 will be my first objective. Uh, 94.25. $74.50 and ultimately 68. right, so I got my sell, my buy stops ready, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then I get stopped out. Yes, join higher, swap buy side. It might need to swap sell side once again. It might need to sweep buy side once again. Let's see what it does after it sweeps here. Yeah, so this is why I like taking my trade off after the macro is over, because it does things like this. It either consolidates or it just doesn't do anything. All right, so ES swept buy side. I want to see if NQ sweeps this high. I would like it if it didn't. If it didn't, then that's even better. The 10:30 macro is about to start, so it might be waiting for that. Rejected consequent encroachment again. So now I would like to see that displacement, because now we have SMT. I don't like using lower time frame SMT though. I like using the 15 higher time frame SMT, 15 minute and higher. So now we have, it looks like we're going to close above this area. All right, perfect. So now we're getting that displacement after price swept this high here on ES, and on NQ we did not. We closed. Okay, so now we're good. As soon as it sweeps this low, I'm bringing my stop down to these highs here. And I got my orders ready. So here's where I want to see again. Since price closed below this mitigation block, I want to see price fail to get above this right here. You got one here, and this little one here. Obviously, this is the one I'm paying attention to because this is the bigger of the two. I'm watching this breaker here on ES. Actually, it's this breaker here. Okay, so 10 o'clock macro just started. I mean 10:30 macro just started. Let's use a tool that I normally don't use, but it kind of gives me kind of like using it from time to time. Yeah, I don't want to see it come back up here. If it comes back up here, I'm just going to take it off because I've been in this trade for far too long, way past my macro. Then I'll come back for the 11 o'clock macro. I'm just going to bring my stop down now, just to mitigate my my loss if I end up in one. 67, what is it? Put it at 68. All right. Yeah, I don't want to see it come back up here. Just technically speaking, whenever you have a double purge like this, you anticipate these highs to be protected if your bias is correct. If you're wrong, then these highs will get swept. Because I don't like how it traded above this already. This is the high that I'm talking about. This to me is the protected high. I don't want to see it get swept anymore. 10 seconds until that candle closes. All right, so we closed above it. So same thing that I noticed here, closed above it. So the next one I want to see it close like this. Again, I don't want to see this high get swept anymore. I want to see this one get immediately rejected, and then I'll move my stop down to here. But my stop remains right above here. Okay. All right. So now, if it comes up and sweeps this high, then obviously I'll get stopped down. That'll be it for me. The one thing I'm glad about though is that these two, if they turn out to be losses, will be very small, which is the goal of it all, actually. That was close. Probably speaking way too soon. All right. Well, I got stopped. If anything, I probably should have taken my first one off here as soon as it swept this low here, because this high, if it doesn't get swept, then I probably will be shit out of luck. Because we're probably getting that rejection now. But yeah, I probably should have taken one off here, second one off here, and then ultimately the Asia lows, because that's my actual that is my overall objective, which is down here. So that was probably maybe it. So I'll be pretty pissed off if that's what happens, because again, original stop, move my stop down, expecting that that breaker to get respected, which was right here, but that didn't happen, obviously. So now during the 11 o'clock macro, maybe we might get that move. But aside from that, very small losses. Um, yeah, very small losses. I'm not expecting to, depending on what happens, I'll either um, sit out the 11 o'clock macro. I'll probably just look at the price action. But aside from that, I'm not really interested in this anymore, especially on how the 15-minute looks. The 15-minute looks very it's what's called an engulfing candle. Completely engulfs the previous candle. That's a bullish sign, but it all depends on how it closes here in the next 7 minutes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll come back tomorrow to see what I'll come back tomorrow to see what the outlook is and all that stuff. But yeah,